Hey, it's Stephanie. So, as I promised, I'm going to go over a QiGong exercise with you guys to help to fight off the coronavirus. It's actually going to be 3 exercises in one. Coronavirus is a new strain of SARS, which is severe acute respiratory syndrome. So, it affects your upper respiratory system up here in your chest. And so one of the best ways to fight against it is to strengthen your upper respiratory system. Qigong has been proven to do this. They used it during the Spanish influenza to great extent and great help. And recently in China, they've been using it with patients of this coronavirus as well, nurses and doctors. So anyways, explanation of Qigong. What is Qigong? Qigong is energy work in Chinese. Qi is energy, Gong is work. And Qi is basically the same as what's called in Japanese martial arts as Ki, as in like a Ki punch. Ki punch. In Hinduism, in yoga, Qigong is referred to as pranayama. Pranayama being breath regulation. So prana is, again, life energy, and the mystical aspects of Judaism, Christianity, Islam. We have what's called haruach. Haruach is the spirit or the breath or the wind, which is also called hakoach, the force, as in may the force be with you. And in Hebrew, Qigong is basically the same as hithnave. Hithnave is a Hebrew term which is in the reflexive form, which means action upon yourself, meaning to prophesy. So prophesy meaning to cause yourself to prophesy in the Bible. And there's great misunderstanding because most people think of prophesying as somehow you're a spokesperson for God and you're speaking his words, but that's not the meaning of hithnave in the Bible. The meaning of hithnave in the Bible means to channel energy, to use the force. Sometimes they used it, prophets like Isaiah or Jeremiah or Ezekiel, to speak of things of God or the future. But most of the prophets like Moses, Elijah, Elisha, used it to perform miracles, like Moses splitting the Red Sea, or Elijah calling fire down from heaven, or Elisha raising people from the dead. They were channeling energy for theurgy, miracle working. And some of the prophets like Samuel used it to influence political events like David and Saul. And even Samson, the prophet, he used it to channel strength. So anyways, Qigong is energy work, and it's referred to as prophesying, hithnave in Hebrew, or pranayama, breath regulation in yoga in Hinduism. So we got those definitions out of the way. The most important thing we need to work on is breathing. King Solomon in the Bible, the book of Ecclesiastes, says, Chavel, Chavalim, Hakol, Chavel. Breathing of breathings, the all is breathing, everything is breathing. It's usually mistranslated in English as vanity of vanities, all is vanity, but that's not the literal meaning of the Hebrew word kaval, which means to breathe or breathing, breath. So we need to learn how to breathe properly. So let me show you how to breathe properly. In Chinese, Qigong, you want natural breath, so just rhythmical breath in and out through your nose. So just practice that for a few minutes, just rhythmical breathing in through your nose, through your diaphragm. And Qigong also kind of helps to imagine that your belly is full of like a globe, a ball that's pushing out to the sides when you breathe in and breathe out. Expanding. In Chinese Qigong, basically you have what are called 3 dantians. And these dantians are, I believe, the Chinese word is cauldron. So think Harry Potter, Hermione Granger, she's brewing potions with her cauldron. So we have what's called the lower dantian or lower cauldron, the middle dantian or middle cauldron and the upper dantian or upper cauldron. And we're focusing now on the lower dantian. So you're breathing through your dantian, even though it's your diaphragm. It's more your dantian pushing into your diaphragm. Let's get into yoga. Breathing in yoga, we got 3 terms. We got puraka, which is inhalation. We have rekaka, which is exhalation. And then you have kumbhaka, which is breath retention. So again, so puraka, breath in. Rekaka, breath out. And kumbhaka, breath retention. Okay. And with these breathings, we want to make it natural most of the time. So mostly just puraka, rekaka, inhalation, exhalation. But as we get into the more advanced stuff in these exercises, then we'll add the kumbhaka, which is the breath retention. So we'll get into that in a moment. And okay, so in yoga, in Hinduism, we're dealing with the chakras. And in this case, we're dealing with the solar plexus chakra in the navel area, Manipura. Manipura basically translates as something like a precious jewel. And chakras are basically just internal energy wheels. Sometimes they're called padmes or lotuses. The idea of a lotus is as you meditate upon it, it opens up. And then the idea of chakras is like a chariot wheel. As it gets going, it starts to spin. All right. Now, in Hebrew mysticism, Jewish mysticism, Kabbalah, we have the Sephiroth, the 10 emanations of God. In this case, we're talking about 2, which is Netzach, victory, and Hod, glory. And in prophesying, Hithnave, it's the balance between these 2, the oscillating back and forth, that causes you to channel energy, to channel Haruach, the spirit, or Hakoach, the force. Again, those are synonyms in Hebrew. So now that we got that, let's focus a little bit on posture. Correct posture is important. You want to stand normal stance with your feet shoulder width apart, and then you want to take a step either to the left or to the right so that your stance is a little bit wider than your shoulders. And then we want to do what's called in QiGong, Chinese QiGong, which is sink your dantian. That just means bend your knees a little bit, slightly, not too much. Lower your center of gravity so that, it's down in this lower dantian area, kind of pressing down. Imagine this globe in your belly area. And that's where you want to breathe. And then the more advanced stuff, which we get into with yoga, adding the breath retention. So again, your natural breath, QiGong type of stuff. And your more advanced stuff, which has the kumbhaka, the hold, with the breath retention. Okay, so I think now that we got that stuff out of the way, we can move into the 3 exercises. Okay, so before we begin the 3 QiGong exercises, I just want to say a few things more about the coronavirus. So again, the coronavirus is a virus that affects your upper respiratory system. So these QiGong exercises are going to strengthen the 2 things that help you to breathe, because the coronavirus in its most severe forms causes pneumonia, which makes it difficult for patients to breathe. So the 2 things that help your lungs to breathe are your diaphragm and your spine. And so these 3 QiGong things are going to strengthen those. So let's get into exercise number 1. So you want to assume your stance, feet shoulder width apart, and then take a step either to the left or to the right so that you're standing a little bit wider than your shoulders. Okay, and then you want to sink your dantian, which again, lower your center of gravity or center of balance. Okay, you want to keep your spine straight, which usually helps to look forward and slightly tuck your chin in. And then you want to begin your natural rhythmical breathing of in and out. Again, the more advanced step is when we add the breath retention. Okay, so with the first exercise, we want to imagine that we have a ball right here, like a round globe in our solar plexus area. All right, and again, as we're standing here, make sure you feel centered, like you're balanced, really heavy, like with your center towards the earth. Okay, we're going to take our hands around the ball, kind of like dagger hands. Imagine you have like these daggers. Okay, and as you come down underneath the ball with the inhalation, the puraka, you want to push your daggers up into your diaphragm. So your diaphragm is pushing up into your chest. Diaphragm up into your chest, okay? So, and then with the exhalation, the rakaka, you want to switch your dagger hands around this way, so it's coming up over the ball. But we're going to start with the natural breath, which is just the easy in and out. And as we advance, we'll add the kumaka, the breath retention. Now we want to imagine that there's some real force here. Imagine there's a real tangible globe to help with it. It's not just, it's natural, but it's got strength to it. So you're feeling it in your diaphragm, okay? And what this exercise is doing is it's pushing your spine with the inhalation backwards, and then with the exhalation outwards. Inhalation backwards, exhalation back forwards, okay? So let's strengthen the spine backwards and forwards. At the same time, this upwards, downwards motion is strengthening your diaphragm. Okay, so that's exercise number 1. Exercise number 2. Okay, same stance. Make sure you're centered, balanced. Okay, and then this time we're going to imagine that we're pushing a force upwards with the tops of our hands and then downwards with the palms of our hands. So inhalation upwards, puraka, and then exhalation downwards, rakaka. And then as we advance, we're going to add that kumbhaka, the breath retention. And what this exercise is doing is it's working our spine upwards and downwards, as well as that same upwards and downwards motion of the diaphragm from the first exercise. So first exercise, backwards and forwards with our spine. This exercise, upwards and downwards with our spine. Upwards and downwards with our spine. All right, and then with both, it's the diaphragm being strengthening with the up and down as well. All right, so third exercise. Third exercise is we're going to assume the same stance, and this time we're going to turn. All right, we're not going to turn really far, but we want to turn enough that you feel the twisting of your spine. And we're going to do it both sides. So we're going to turn this side, and we're going to turn this side. All right, that's with the inhalation. So inhalation, turn. And then with exhalation, we're going to imagine we're pushing against the wall. So inhalation, turn. Exhalation, push. Okay, so. And then the other side. And again, with the first round of repetitions, we're going to do the natural breath. And then with the next ones, we're going to add the breath retention. So this one is obviously moving our spine sideways. All right, so the first exercise was moving it backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards. The second one was moving it up and down, up and down. And this one's moving it from side to side, strengthening our spine. And with the first two, it was strengthening our diaphragm upwards and downwards. This one, the turning is not so much the diaphragm, a little bit more the spine with the third one. So with all three of these exercises, all three of them, we want to practice them a few times a day, probably about 10 minutes each repetition. I've been doing about 6 times a day, but you might want to start with like once or twice a day. Maybe, again, start with the natural breath and then move into the advanced breath retention. So anyways, I hope that these things help. This QiGong exercises help with fighting the coronavirus, or if you are unfortunate and have the coronavirus, also helps with that. So, Ana Bakalaka, may the force be with you.